Hello, my name is Opal Singleton. I am the president and CEO of an organization called Million Kids. We're all about keeping kids safe from predators. And this particular discussion will be talking about working with parents who think their child is being groomed. I hope you follow us on all of our social media. Start with me and kids.org, not .com.org, and sign up for our newsletter. And if you're on Facebook, you might want to sign up for Me and Kids Supporters. That is a private group where we can continue to educate you for free on this kind of thing. You have to request to be admitted, and then be sure and turn on your notifications so that you know when we post. So, we have 15 years of experience of working with parents and kids who get exploited online, and we don't want that to happen. So this is about you think your child's being groomed and what should you do. I want to give you a quick disclaimer. This is not like an instruction manual. This is not do this, do that. In fact, this is our views, our opinions based on years of research and working with cases. But it is only suggestions because we don't know you and we don't know your real situation. But take it for what it's worth. We think the material will be helpful. Grooming is based on fantasy. I wrote a book a long time ago, it's still valid, called Seduce the Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all based on wanting what we don't have, wanting that desire to be loved, somebody to think we're special and important, or maybe a chance to pick up some quick and easy money. I mean, after all, that's what the lottery is all about, isn't it? And every one of us want it. There's nothing unusual about that. That makes us all vulnerable. So it doesn't matter who you are. Anybody can be groomed, young or old. Your 80-year-old grandmother can be groomed, okay? Any gender, any ethnicity. I'm going to pick on grandpas too, by the way. We don't want to discriminate there, but it can be any gender, any ethnicity, and any sexual orientation. So, what are we talking about? What is the definition? Well, the kind of a formal definition is a set of manipulative behavior that is often used by predators to gain access, especially to a minor, but it can be to anyone that they want to victimize. We see romance scams of the elderly people who are, or even middle aged people who are divorced or widowed or widowed, and they meet someone online and they want to have that relationship. That predator will build trust and emotional connection with you or your teenager, and then they begin to manipulate the relationship. Maybe their goal is sextortion, where they want more photos, or they want maybe money. Maybe it's for online exploitation or even an in-person violation. Primary driving component on all of this is secrecy. Whether you're talking about a romance scam of somebody in middle age, or whether it's your teenager that has met someone online, it's all about secrecy. So grooming is the process of normalizing inappropriate behavior. So it feels like it's okay. It's an exception in this case, is how it feels. I know other people have gotten violated, but it's not going to happen to me. Grooming can be used by perpetrators for many nefarious reasons. We have financial exploitation. Once they get a naked photo, or they think that you're in love with them, they start to want money from you. Or that maybe it's a sexual exploitation where they want the nude videos, or even to meet up for sexual exploitation. Sometimes it's a romantic exploitation. Sometimes it's criminal activity. And quite frankly, grooming can take place even if they're trying to recruit you for terrorism activity. So for this particular video, we want to narrow it down to: you believe your child might have met somebody online is being groomed. So the first indicators that this is happening is they'll become very private or very secret. You start to walk down the hall and they close the bedroom door. You walk in a room, they close over the iPad or the device that they're doing. Maybe they're borrowing somebody else's device. They may seem to be in a non-realistic relationship. In other words, a fantasy relationship, not dealing with reality and even avoiding responsibility. There may be attempts to sneak out of the house or leave school early. They may hide their texts and communication. They're looking to potentially meet up with that individual. Any attempts at normal conversation may be met with agitation or pushback. You start asking them questions, go, "Oh, mom, leave me alone." Okay. Every little thing kind of ticks them off. May not want to participate in normal family activities due to fear of missing out with their time with this perpetrator, especially in the early stages when they're like all in love and they think this is going to be wonderful. But it can also be true if the blackmailing, the sextortion has already begun and they're trying to meet the demands of that person. They may be obsessed with alone time or privacy so they can communicate and not have to admit to what is going on. There can be an unwillingness to talk to the family about this new relationship. Online groomers often have many different names, many different identities, and use different apps. Excuse me. This is why I'm going to suggest to you that you never go online and tell someone, you're a pedophile, leave my kid alone. I know what you're doing. You don't want to do that because they will just come back around under a different name. They may pretend that they're much younger than they actually are. We see this over and over where you have a 13-year-old girl who's talking to someone who says they're only 19 when in fact they're 48. Okay. They may send the victim photos of others playing sex games. They often do that with our prepubescent kids. I just made one of these videos on what to do if your prepubescent child is online with someone. The first thing they'll do is send them a video of little kids playing sex games because little kids think that's funny. And they will then want them to make one like that. So that's why they're sending them images of other kids. The sexual content is often sent to the victim to desensitize that child, and they may appear to live far away, but in reality may live very close. If your child is being groomed and you think, well, it's okay because they're in Pennsylvania and you're in California, don't fall for that because distance is nothing in this day and age, okay? Common technology used by groomers, all kinds of things, but a lot of direct messaging, that texting where they're going back and forth all the time. Chat rooms and hookup sites are especially common in these kind of things. And many of these chat rooms have geolocation software. So you're talking to somebody and they'll say, "Oh, I only live 3 miles from you. Let's get acquainted," because that software identifies that. Video game chat rooms are absolutely important because think about it. Your kid's in a video game chat room. They're competing. They're talking to millions of people now. Discord, Roblox, Fortnite, all of those chat rooms. And you're competing and there's hot girls on there and you're looking at sexual images. That's why they will often use a video game chat room to groom your child. Same way with dating sites or hookup sites. If you're on a dating site, you're automatically saying, "I'm looking," and that makes you a lot more vulnerable. Instagram, hashtags, the hashtag hot cam girls, hashtag itty bitty bikinis. They use those hashtags that are higher risk to be able to connect with people they think might be easy to be exploited. Any of your mass audience live streaming apps are really a place that groomers hang out. Byte, like TikTok, Scout, and again your games like Roblox and Fortnite, and your high connectivity games where you're talking to lots of different people. By the way, one of the first things they'll do is they'll want to be a friend with your friend because they're a friend of a friend. And that is what often how they get into your child. And you should talk to your child about that. Anytime they admit a friend, they need to know that friend, okay? Not a friend of a friend. Okay, perpetrators will often explore a need or a hidden desire of the victim that only they can fulfill. Okay. And they will identify the shortcomings, the dissatisfactions in your life. I'm sorry your dad didn't show up last night. He doesn't know what he's missing. Hey, I know your mom's a creep or your mom's boyfriend is a creep. I'm going to take care of you. And they will come in and find those I'm flunking out at school. I'm home with a cold. All of those things that make a little opening for a groomer. Perpetrators will almost always isolate the victim. This is our little secret. Don't tell anyone. I share with our kids, if you can't be proud of who you are talking to and what you're doing, maybe that's the first hint you shouldn't be doing it because they're trying to get you isolated so only they can influence you. Should be a big red flag. Okay. So, potential risk factors: a kid that spends a lot of time alone, they're lonely, they're playing around online, and they find a new friend. Okay. A child that lives in a chaotic home environment where there's constant fighting and going on. A child that lacks self confidence or they believe they're a loser. A child from any broken home. A child with disabilities. Autistic children are especially vulnerable because they're very good with technology, usually, but they don't always understand why they shouldn't be sending that naked photo. A child that needs emotional support or they're feeling left out or lonely. A child that routinely looks to others for approval. And a prepubescent child that does not understand about pedophilia is really at risk because they're very good with technology, but they don't understand the background of what's going on. If you have a prepubescent child you think is being groomed, you may want to Google that with me and kids. We have another video specifically about prepubescent children. So, how does a parent go about intervening? Well, a lot of it depends on your existing relationship. If you're already in a tug of war relationship, or maybe you're a part time parent, only gets the child part of the time, or there's other factors in there, it's going to be harder to intervene because they're going to be less open to trusting you to have that conversation. But it is worth the effort to do it. Okay. The first thing I want to point out is fantasies are not based on reality, but they feel like they're based on reality. And that is true for every one of us. That's true for someone that's on a dating site. That's true for someone who wants a romance in their life. And that's true for our young kids that are reaching out online that connect with someone that's going to fulfill their every need. But it's really important that a parent understand what I'm saying here. Fantasies are not based on reality, but they feel like they're based on reality. And you are not dealing with the reality with that child in so much as you're helping them deal with the fantasy that is the driving force in their emotional makeup. So your 13-year-old girl comes home with this 23-year-old boyfriend and a pickup truck, and you are freaking out. Okay. Or they've met somebody online. Here's what I want you to understand, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa. You are not arguing with the girl or the guy that's going on in this, and you're not arguing with the perpetrator. You are arguing with that fantasy they're creating in that child. And when a parent gets in a tug of war with a fantasy, they are going to lose if they don't know how to help them unpack that fantasy and build that trust to have that discussion. The first thing to really understand is you have to build trust with your child. It is best to stay calm. Any parent who goes out and goes, over my dead body, you are not going to da 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 da, you know, you're going to lose it right there. This kid is going to hang on to that fantasy and leave me alone. You don't understand. So you have to have that calm and that trust for them to be able to open up and have that discussion. And by the way, this is true whether your child is a guy or a girl. This is going to happen. We are all human in there. So, some ways to start the conversation. The way not to start the conversation: who are you talking to? And then what are you doing? And blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Okay. I would suggest that you don't do that. This is suggestion. Sorry about that. I get carried away. The conversation with your child: you seem a bit different lately. I'm hoping we can talk about that. Has something changed in your life? Anything that you can share with me? Maybe you met somebody or something's happened. Is there anyone in particular that you're really, really excited about? Or maybe you're a little worried about something. Can we talk about that? I know that you and I don't always agree, but we want you to be happy and we want you to be safe and we want you to have the best of everything. So I was hoping you might open up and share a little bit about what's going on here. And I will do my best to listen and understand. If they're willing to talk and share, have some follow up questions about the person they met online. Now, this is real important, mom and dad, that you're not a drill sergeant. How old is he? Where's he been? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is, hey, if you're really serious about this person, then I want to get to know them. Maybe they'll be part of our family someday. So we want to make sure and support you in your decision to like this person. So tell me a little bit about him. How long have you known him? How did you meet him? Where did you like? And by the way, if they met him in a place that they shouldn't have been, don't pound down on them. Okay. What did you do? What did you really like about this person? What do you like about how they make you feel? Where do they live? How old are they? What do you have in common with them? Is there anything you can share? What kind of work they might do? Where do they go to school? Have you exchanged some photos? Can I see what he's look like? Is he like a blonde guy, or is she a beautiful blonde girl, or maybe a smashing redhead? What are they like? Is there anything that's going on here that kind of makes you skeptical? Just maybe some caution things that we can talk about. Have you already exchanged photos? Be cool, mom and dad. Okay. Have you exchanged photos? Have you ever thought about meeting up with this person? I hope you don't. It's really, really, really dangerous, but I can understand that would be a feeling you might have if you particularly like this person. Do they own a dog or a cat? Why do I ask that? You can ask other questions like that. Do they play soccer or basketball or baseball? Do they drive a car? Do they have an SUV or a sports car or a silly motorcycle? How tall are they? What do they specialize in school? Why are we asking these questions to this? Not to pound the child with a whole bunch of questions, but to help the young person understand that they may not really know much about this person. You see, pedophiles will go immediately to that sexual image, that sexual activity, and wow, you're hot, and all of that. And it isn't like they're dating in person where they really get acquainted. And so one of the things that you'll start to ask, and by the way, this can work on romance scams too, oh, they want to borrow money. Really? Where do they live? How tall are they? What do they look like? How many kids do they have? The thing about being groomed is they don't give you any details. And so that's worth thinking about. And then the scariest question of all, have you ever met this person? Have they asked you to meet up with them? Because one of the things that I often suggest between parent and child is that we sign a contract that you will never, ever go out and meet up with someone they met online. It's very important because it's not safe. The point of asking these questions is that pedophiles will give little information about themselves, and this conversation is meant to bring the individual back to reality. Okay. So it isn't so much about putting the kid on the spot. It's about getting the kid to say, well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. What I do know is he's really hot, or she's really, really hot. And, she goes to this high school, and I think she's in the swim class. Get them to start to realize that they don't know a lot about that individual. When a child is being groomed, they will naturally be defensive of that relationship. All of us are. This is mine. I'm going to hold on to it. You can't have it. So no one wants to believe they've been duped. No one. And most of us really don't want to give up our fantasies and dreams. And I am no different. Okay. They're mine. I'm going to have them. This is what drives me on. So it's normal to be defensive. It's normal to do what you can to avoid giving up what you don't want to give up. And most of us, every one of us, I'm going to be willing to tell you, believe we are right. Okay. I'm going to do this because I am right and you are wrong. I know this person loves me, and that's how it goes. So be gentle and give them some space. Don't pound down on them hour upon hour upon hour. Let them work through with it. Thank you, Cha, for being willing to talk with you and trust you with such an important situation. Together, you can block any kind of perpetrators and report them to an app administrator. If you've determined that they are, in fact, a perpetrator, you may want to change your own user profile, especially mom and dad if they're using your phone, but your child should change their user profile. But remember, these guys, these bad guys, they operate under all kinds of different names and use different online apps and chat rooms. So they're going to, you block them here, they're going to come around to other ways. So pay attention. Your best thing to do is remove you and your child from any kind of online dialogue for a while. And by the way, if you're going to do that, mom and dad, make sure you fill your child's life with other healthy activities, like maybe going to the beach, going for a hike, going up to the mountains, maybe going to a soccer game, maybe getting together with a bunch of friends and go for a swim. Keep them busy. Otherwise, that void starts to hurt, and they will find themselves going back trying to make up with the perpetrator. Tell your child how proud you are for working together on this situation. As the world becomes more complicated, they are sure to be a true leader. So I want you to take some action. If your child is still making poor decisions or may be in danger, it is important that you take action. Okay. Examine the online device. And if you see signs of potential exploitation, like trying to meet up, that they've exchanged photos, that they're threatening them, or any of those kinds of things, then here are some things that I would suggest. First of all, screenshot it. Stay calm. You're the adult in the room. Stay calm, screenshot that exploitation, and then block it and shut it off. Do not contact the perpetrator. Never alert the perpetrator. You know that they're a pedophile or a perpetrator. Block all communication with the perpetrator and take the young person and the device to law enforcement. It may be embarrassing, but these guys never have just one victim, and they don't go away easy. So it's very important that you take the young person, that you block it all, that you get the evidence. I don't care how embarrassing it is, and go to your cyber crimes unit at your law enforcement. Now, pay attention here, because this is very traumatic to a young person. In these cases, if you're in danger, dial 911. If your child is thinking that they may harm themselves, contact the crisis hotline 988 and get the young person some psychological assistance, because this is a traumatic situation depending on how far it's gone. Go to your local police department, to the non-emergency number with all the information, and ask them to file a report. This is really important. You may want to also report it to NCMEC. You can do that online if you want, and you can do that anonymously. I say that because pedophiles usually have more than one victim. So if you've been able to avert a disaster with your child, be sure to report it so that you can stop other kids from being violated. Well, this is a long video. Thank you for staying with me through it. I hope you'll follow me and kids. We have lots of other videos that we're creating. I hope you will share this video with other people. Share it with your family. Share it with your Sunday school class or your church group or your Seroptimist or just friends that you want to share it with. We would appreciate it. And if you're interested in helping us fund these videos, they cost money to put them together. You can do that by going to meandkids.org and making that donation. I truly would appreciate it. One more time, these are suggestions only. We are not here to have you make a particular decision one way or the other. We're here to enlighten you, and I hope it's been helpful. This is Opal Singleton at millionkids.org. I can't say it. millionkids.org. I hope you'll stay with us, follow us, okay? And we'll see you next time on one of these videos. Thank you for watching. Long video, but I hope it was helpful. You can contact me, by the way, at opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org.